Well, it all started with an email from Michael about this time last year, so about May, early May time last year. And we had worked together in 2009 on a Victoria's Secret commercial. And he sent me an email saying, look, I'm casting for another role in Transformers 3. I think you should go to the casting. I'd like you to go. And so, you know, I was a bit apprehensive. There was, you know, then there was no information around the role and whatnot. And, you know, but when a director of a movie of this size tells you to go to an audition, you would be smart to get yourself down to it. So I went and did what I thought wasn't a particularly great job, but apparently was a good job. And I got a phone call a couple of days later asking me to be in the film. And actually, I was casting for the new female lead. Well, it took a really long time to sink in. I don't think it sank in until I was really shooting the movie, and it was such a fast thing that happened, and within the time from the phone call to the time I was on set shooting my first scenes was like 3 weeks. And so it kind of just turned me upside down, and I didn't have much time to really think about, oh my gosh, I'm doing this movie. It was just like, okay, you've got to do this, this, and this, and you know, get into acting class and go study the script and fittings, and then I'm on set, and then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm on set, I'm shooting a movie. But I was thrilled. I mean, it's a mix of emotions for sure. I think for me it feels like a natural progression, and I would love to pursue acting now, and I think it had been something that was always in the back of my head. But I don't know how similar modeling and acting are. They do go hand in hand so well in so many ways. They're also completely different. I mean, all the things that make you a great model, you know, you have to be conscious of yourself and your body and the way you look on camera. You have to completely forget those as an actress and forget how you look and being concerned about which way you're looking. You know, you have to lose all of that. And then, you know, I was modeling on set with pretty clothes and pretty hair and makeup, and everything's clean and pretty and on time. And then you go from that to a back alley in Chicago where you're sweaty and dirty and hot and exhausted, and you've been filming for 5 days, for 17 hours a day, and you're doing it again tomorrow, and just doing that for 7 months. It was a really interesting transition, and in so many ways similar, in so many ways not. My name in this movie is Carly Spencer. I'm an English girl, and I'm the new girlfriend of Shia LaBeouf's character, Sam Witwicky, and we meet in the White House. I work for the British ambassador, and we fall in love, and that's how the movie opens, really. And I then have a boss who's played by Patrick Dempsey, and that's a little bit about my character. He received a medal for saving the world in the last 2 movies, so he's obviously like this world-famous kid for saving the world twice. And I think we're seeing in this 3rd installment is how big his ego kind of got about this, and he's actually realizing that he's having to get a real job, and you know, no one really knows you saved the world, you know, like. But I believe you, and, you know, good, but now you have to go and get a proper job like everybody else. And he's a bit bummed out by that, I think. He comes in, and the way we meet, I'm working in the White House with the British ambassador, and he sees me across the room and slings his medal around in front of me to try and get my attention. Patrick Dempsey is my boss in this movie, and he plays Dylan, who owns a car factory or a car museum, and I'm his curator. And I mean, I met Patrick. I think I'd been filming for about a month already, and I met Patrick and was so relieved that he would, because we have a lot of scenes together through the movie, and I was just really relieved that he was, you know, another great guy on the set that I was going to be working with, and so professional and so. I mean, he's worked forever and so talented. And again, it was another person I could just really watch and soak up all their knowledge and just enjoy watching them work. And then, my character, he's my boss. And then there's an interesting triangle between me and Shia's character and Dylan. And there's sort of like this jealousy thing that goes on between the three of us. So Shai is one of the funniest people I think I've ever met. He's nuts. He's so funny. He's really intense. He works really, really hard on these movies. He's like a walking Transformers encyclopedia. He was always there to help me and hold my hand and baby me through the whole thing. And, you know, he's just talented. He's so, so talented. And to get to watch that every day for 7 months for me was enough, you know, even if I wasn't in this film, you know, just to be alongside him as his co-star, I'm just so proud of that. And you know, I really wanted to work hard for him as much as anybody else. So I don't think I realized how huge these movies were until we got to Chicago. And it was when I was in my hotel room and we were about, you know, we were staying in a big skyscraper, and it was about, I was in like the 20th story. And I remember opening my curtains one day and looking out onto Michigan Avenue and just seeing the entire street. I mean, this is a huge main street in Chicago, completely destroyed. It looked like the end of the world. And I just remember looking down and seeing 50 US Marines running through with their guns, and then there's like 4 explosions going off, and then you're eating your breakfast and there's 3 base jumpers shooting past your window and 3 helicopters zooming around. You've got press vans everywhere, hordes of fans screaming when you get on and off set. And it just was, I had no idea how huge these films were. I mean, I knew they were big, but not to this extent. And the fact that people wanted to come down and watch us was just, it was mind-blowing. It was the point I think I realized that my life was never going to be the same again, and how exciting this was, and you know, being a part of those sets. I mean, to walk through those sets was, you know, I didn't even feel like they're so real, they're so realistic. They made you feel whatever you needed to feel for the scenes. And I mean, everybody works whatever aspect, whether it be the set designing or the costume designing. It just felt so realistic for me, and it was amazing. That was a stage that was built in LA, and we called it the Tilted Building, and it was basically because it was what I can describe as a floor of a skyscraper, an office floor, and it came up on a crane on a tilt to about a 40-degree angle. I think it was about 40 degrees. And you know, they changed the set in various ways to make it look like the inside of an office building, and then we also changed it to look like the outside, so it looked like the glass panels of a skyscraper. And it was like in our last few days of filming, and we would sit at the top of it, about 6, 7 of us, myself, Shia, Tyrese, the Navy SEALs, and we'd be sliding down this thing, and it was about 100 feet drop. I mean, it was the funnest thing ever. We were just sliding down it over and over again. They would be throwing chairs down after us, and plants, and fake glass, and you know, you covering yourself. And I would always shoot down first. For some reason, I'd get to the bottom first. And it took about 2 times for me to realize that if I didn't get out of the way quick enough, I was about to get flattened by like a 300-pound Navy SEAL or US Marine or Tyrese or Shia was going to come down, and you'd hit the pads and run off as soon as you can. I was just thrilled to be, you know, working with someone that's so talented. And Michael works really hard on these movies, and it really shows. And he wants everybody to come and bring their A game, and he wants everybody to come and work as hard as he does. He's an intense director. Everybody knows that. And you know, I think for me the most important thing when I took on this movie was to work really hard for him, because he's given me such an amazing opportunity, and I didn't know quite how to thank him for it. He's changed my life, and he's given me a career and a chance, and he really took a chance putting me in this movie. So I sort of said to myself, how am I ever going to thank him? And the only thing I could think of was just to work really, really hard and bring my A game every day to set, which I hope I did. I really hope. I haven't seen any movie in 3D. I'm not going to lie. I've seen this movie in 2D. I cannot imagine how insane it is going to be in 3D. I can't think of a better movie to be in 3D with these robots and the special effects and the explosions. and the characters. I like haven't been to see a movie in 3D just because I'm waiting to see this one in 3D, and I want this to be my first experience of 3D. But seeing it in 2D was mind-blowing. It looks incredible, the effects, the robots, and you have to remember we don't even shoot the movie with the robots in there. And so now for me, who's a veteran, who's not done this before, goes in the edit room and sees all the robots coming in and seeing all the special effects being added on, it's like a whole other movie to me, and it just looks brilliant. So to see it in 3D, I can't imagine. It's going to be amazing. Hold on to your seats, people. One thing I learned from this movie with a wardrobe was to try and persuade the director not to make you wear heels all the way through an action sequence, and to try and choose things that are cool when you're going to hot destinations. But you know, I mean, the costumes were some of the funnest parts of me getting ready with all the costumes, because I love fashion, and that's been such a big part of my life, and I really wanted to bring that to my character and make her kind of fashionable, and that's what me and Deb Scott did throughout the fittings. But yeah, heels was definite. Oh, and if you can get jeans that you can fit stunt pads down, that might be a good idea too. I really hope there's another film so I can be with my family again. They're such a great group of guys, and I felt so embraced by everybody. I think on my first day of work, I was so nervous. And everybody from the cast to the crew, everybody that worked on that movie came over and introduced themselves and welcomed me to set and embraced me and said how happy they were for me to be there, and if there was anything I needed, just to let them know. And you know, I felt like Queen Bee, and everybody really made me feel special and welcomed. And there was definitely nerves. I was definitely worried that I wasn't going to be welcomed, and you know, I was going to feel like the new girl at school. But no, that wasn't the case. Throughout filming, when there was moments that were stressful or were painful or were excruciating or were long and exhausting, the one thing that kept me going was thinking about being able to share it with my family and friends at the end, and I just knew that the results were always going to be amazing. So I can't wait to be in London with my family and sitting in the movie theatre laughing about the whole thing.